Patrick at Pals. Chuck, let's talk about realistic expectations for your restoration at Pals.
Well, here we have the ice cream truck that was born with a 3-speed manual transmission. That's all that ever existed in this vehicle back in that time. So you can see all the manual components laying on the floor over here. They've been removed from the vehicle. Why? Because this customer wants to make it an automatic. So we're putting in a 3-speed automatic transmission. Now, the expectation is they'll be able to get in the vehicle, drive down the road like any 3-speed automatic from back in the 70s or 80s. And that's the expectation that's realistic, okay? When they get this back, they'll have plenty of driving time with the vehicle and it'll be an automatic transmission. So what happens with people sometimes though, their expectations aren't what the result are. So we try to apprise them of that ahead of time so that the result that they get is what we've told them they'll get.
So in other words, customer comes in and says, I want to change this over to a 3-speed automatic. Give me a price on that, and you give them a total price, right?
No, there's no way to price that because you don't know what you're going to have to fabricate or change or modify in order to fit that in the vehicle. So there's adapter plates, there's cross members, there's welding and cutting. And so what we do is I can give them a price on the components, but as far as the time goes, we bill that in real time. The technician, he punches a time card when he starts, he punches a time card when he's finished, and we bill that in real time because there's no guide that says what you're going to do. There's always cutting and modification. In this particular vehicle, Jimmy had to remove a ½ inch off of each side of the cross member to properly make it fit to marry to the transmission. So you don't know that going in. You have to wait till you get all your geometry and your measurements so that everything lines up properly.
So of course you explain that to the customer that here, I can give you a price on the transmission. I can give you a price on the installation kit. We know the installation kit's not going to be complete. We know we're going to have to fabricate things, and we do it by the hour from there, right?
That is correct. And it's the only way you can do it when you're doing something like this or any restoration job, because when you're dealing with vehicles that are older, there are things that just don't exist. We had a Corvette that we had to modify, and what we did was we put in an electric cooling fan. Well, Jimmy had to make the fan shroud himself. So we had to get out our cutter, cut a circle as a template for the fan, and then actually marry a fan to a shroud that he made to put in that vehicle. That's unforeseen. You can't plan on that, and there's no way to tell somebody what that's going to cost.
And one of the things we do, and I notice that you're very effective with this, you talk to the customer about costs. You tell them that it's got to be open-ended. And you make sure that the customer understands that and has got the wherewithal. There's been jobs we've turned away because we know the customer, and the customer realizes it's too big a project. They can't afford it.
Yes, that happens all the time because what people's perception is and what the reality is are always two different things. That's why here at Pals we go to great detail to explain exactly what they're looking at, exactly what the cost could possibly be.
You know, it's interesting. I watch all the shows on TV, you know, whether it be Chip Foose or whether it be Phantom Works, and everything takes time and everything has a cost. Some of the shows are plain about how much it costs. Some of them never tell you how much it's cost. You think it's a very inexpensive project, and it's a very expensive project.
That's correct. You know, when you're working with these older vehicles like that, a lot of times just getting a part because it doesn't exist anymore can be very costly and also can be very difficult. We had a project where we had to send the bumpers off. Well, the cost of re-chroming the bumpers was enormous, but it's what the customer wanted, so we gave them what they wanted. That's the other thing here at Pals. We don't make any decision. We let the customer make decisions. We present them with the facts. This is where you're at. How do you want to proceed? And we let them make that choice.
Folks, when you're doing these things, you know, these are terrific vehicles. I mean, who's got an ice cream truck like this? Well, the folks in South Florida got it. They're going to use it in their resort. It's a great vehicle. Nobody else has got one, but it's a one-ism. Putting in this transmission requires a lot of thought, and it requires expertise that we can offer to you at Pals. That all comes at a cost. It also takes time. Nothing is done in a short period of time.
No, it's not. And again, we like to try to prepare the customer for what they're getting. We like to prepare them for what it's going to take to complete the job, and we try to let them know up front that it may cost more than what they think, because we want them to be prepared. We don't want to shell shock anybody. So if you've got a project, bring it to PALS.